You know what? After this season, I'm getting rid of all that beer in that mini fridge, and I'm starting new. Because I'm pretty sure that beer's so goddamn old it's turning into liquor. Because that shit burns. That's such old beer, holy crap.
Gross.
Because you know, once I go somewhere, like if I'm buying, I'll just buy a new case.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I get it.
should I just show the podcast one of these days what the mini fridge looks like? How it's just stock full of beer that just isn't being
you've
drank?
just accumulated over the time.
Yeah. Over this year, because
Dude, I've had my Modelo out. My basement's so cold. I've had my Modelo out on the floor, on my tile floor in the basement this whole last week since we did the beer review. Dude, and it's still fucking chilled.
It's Modelo time, fool.
Oh, Jesus.
No, dude. I got my Pacifico, dude.
Dude, is that from when we fucking beer review? Dude, that's so old.
Let's see. It's still good. Oh, fuck! Damn it. That was a bad idea.
Bro, that's been so long.
Still says it's good through March of 25, so you know that shit's skunked, because we're getting damn near close to March of 25.
Well, and you probably didn't, like, mix it up, you know, shit's just been sitting.
What do you mean mix it up?
Like, just, like, tilt it, you know, like... Yeah, we released that back in September.
Yeah, that beer's since September. That's what I mean, dude. I literally, unless it's for the podcast, if we're having a party, I'll drink, but I'm not going to drink old shit. I want some brand new Busch Light.
No, I get it. But all right, welcome back to another episode of Two Drunk Guys and a Football Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Skinny Domestic.
And I'm Marcus, Marcus, the Hammer. Mary, Meri.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For those of you that are confused on how to spell.
You didn't learn how to spell it, let me tell you.
Yeah, I would have spelled it like Markus, and then Marry, you know, just like something stupid. Dude, now that I think about it, dude, you should have like done something with your last name when you proposed to Brooke. You know, like, will you marry me? And just use like Meri, like.
Were you not invited to me and Brooke's thing?
No, we weren't. I mean,
we were friends.
We were friends, but not like as close as we were.
I proposed to Brooke in 2018. We were most definitely good friends. I'm outing you. Skinny was Skinny was buying alcohol to minors, so Skinny was.
You got married in 2020. You proposed to her in like 2019.
2018.
You guys were engaged.
Milton got married in 2018, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. But no, you missed an opportunity. Yeah. You missed an opportunity to use your last name to be like, "Will you marry me?" You know, haha. I guess you don't appreciate it like other people might listening to the pod.
No, we can do a Merry Christmas from the Marys or Merry Christmas.
Yeah, so you can do that now. You could do like Merry
like that postcards. Yeah.
You could use the pun there. But all right, good episode today. We got news, hirings, firing. Well, I guess I don't think there's anybody more firings yet, but a bunch of hirings.
Just hirings.
Not real. I don't have much like anything like coordinators and stuff. More just like head coaches so far. College football playoff championship game happened. Did you watch the college football playoff game at all on Monday?
No.
Of course you didn't. We had the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Bad betting. We will do our other topics, whatever we need to find like a name for that segment. Just whatever you want to call it. Like I don't know. We need a segment name for that.
Degenerate gambler segment.
Well, no, because we're doing bad betting. But I'm saying, like the one where we just like talk, like what, like just where we're just bringing up topics.
Marcus.
Yeah, I guess something. Just I don't know, bro time. But I don't know. And then we'll do our pick'ems for the conference championships. There's not much going on with everything, but Marcus, why don't you go ahead and get us started with the news?
Chicago, the Windy City, the team that, what did I say? Picked the wrong quarterback first overall in the draft. I did say that, didn't I? Wow, that's crazy. We'll have to pull that up. But they got Ben Johnson as their head coach. Former Lions offensive coordinator. The art of the trick play, Ben Johnson.
Probably the most desired guy for a head coaching position.
Oh, yeah. We'll see if he can save Caleb Williams in this roster.
Dude.
That's all I got to say. I think it's...
Go ahead, sorry.
I think it's a good hire for them. I fully expected them to hire a Mike McCarthy, a Pete Carroll, in other words, the wrong answer to save the franchise. But I think they made a good hire. We'll see, though, because you never know. Some of these hot shots don't really turn out to be great. So,
yeah, I like it. He signed like a $13 million per year contract, right? He's making more money than John Harbaugh, Sean McDermott, and Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Out the gate. So I also am going to be excited to see how involved does he get the Bears lineman. Does he do like what he was doing in Detroit, where, you know, if you were on the goal line, you had an opportunity to catch a pass as a lineman a lot.
Yeah.
So just seeing that, and you know, guys like DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen, like they are going to be utilized a lot with that offense. Cole Kmet even.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting to see what that offense looks like with Ben Johnson as play caller for him.
A caveat to that, though, Ben Johnson was actually last year. It came out. I've seen some videos about it, but he turned down the Commanders' job as their head coach. I bet he's feeling pretty silly right now, considering they had the best quarterback in the draft, and that roster has probably outperformed more than any roster I've seen in the NFL this year.
Yeah,
really is.
But I also don't think that
Go ahead.
I also don't think that if Ben Johnson took the Commanders' job, that defense for the Commanders would be playing like they would under Dan Quinn. So, like they are. So I think there's a little.
That's true.
I think their offense probably, and like how much better can their offense really get under? You got Cliff Kingsbury calling play calls, which he is a offensive genius, I would say. And then, I mean, they'd still put up points. I think it'd still be a good offense, but I think that defense would be the main part in terms of Dan Quinn over Ben Johnson. It'll be interesting. As a Vikings fan, you have to deal with that twice a year now, and again, I guess, but just different players. And the Bears' offense might actually be able to do something now compared to what they did this last year.
That's fair. Yeah. My next piece is, let me get to it. Got a lot of memes in here, not about football.
I do the same too.
Yeah, I have to scroll through it. And even more exciting news. Where are you at? Oh, there you go. My screen, so I can't see you. The Vikings agreed to a multi-year contract with Kevin O'Connell. So I'm excited about it. I like Kevin O'Connell.
Did they ever release terms
the
numbers or anything? Or
I didn't see that, but we can look. I'm sure it's been a couple days.
Let me look here. KOC contracts. As of 8 hours, or we'll go, I guess. Yeah, nothing's been reported.
Yeah, so whatever.
Why are they keeping
I'm
that?
sure it'll be
Why are they
decent.
keeping that all secret?
Um, do not know.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
Vikings looking good with that. He's the first Vikings head coach to have multiple 13-win seasons, and he is the third head coach to ever do that in NFL history in your first 3 years. So he's on the right
he's good.
path.
He's a good head coach. He really is.
He has shown it.
He has very much shown it. Patriots are expected to hire Josh McDaniels as their offensive coordinator. He is literally the offensive coordinator that organization cannot quit. They didn't even. Do they get a head coach? Who did they hire? Oh yeah, they did
Vrabel.
hire someone.
Vrabel.
Vrabel. Yeah, so it makes sense. But Jesus Christ, they cannot quit him.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what it is like. I don't know.
Why are they trying to make the New England Patriots? Like it's like they fired Bill Belichick to hire someone that's not as good as Bill Belichick to be Bill Belichick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's like let's get all the old Patriots guys and like make it work because like it's like literally like okay, what are you gonna do now? Get the ghost of Tom Brady? Or are they gonna get someone that's like Tom Brady in the NFL? Like I don't know. It's odd to me. I guess maybe that's a terrible take, but I don't care. I mean,
yeah. Well, I think the other one too is they need to just change it up a little bit. Go hire a guy that's an offensive-minded head coach. Go
Ben Johnson from Hot Shot.
Go get somebody that isn't defensive. Bill Belichick, defensive. Gerard Mayo, defensive. Mike Vrabel, defensive. I get your. Usually, when your head coach is that's usually going to be the better side of the ball. Typically, more often than not, unless you have a great coordinator on the other side to pan that out. They just need,
well in that team too, in that division, you have Buffalo, who's been high scoring for the last 4 or 5 years. You need to fucking hire someone that can fucking compete with the Bills because the Bills obviously have shown it doesn't matter if you got a good defense. We're gonna fucking throw it on you.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how it goes. I mean, he's back. He knows what Kraft likes, I guess. I don't know. I welcome back to New England. I hope you didn't sell your house for the third time.
Yeah. We'll see. What else do we got here? What? Patriots hire Lions defensive line coach as their defensive coordinator, Terrell Williams. So I'm sure, obviously there's going to be a lot of Lions coaches hired. I'm still kind of shocked that what's his face. I haven't heard anything about our defensive coordinator getting any talks to
Brian Flores. I think the whole Dolphins thing has probably ruined Brian Flores as a head coach right now.
I mean, I'll still keep him as that. Something else that's kind of a couple more things, but something else that's kind of cool-ish is the Bill. It's kind of shitty though too, but it's kind of funny. I guess there was a report that the Bills fans raised a bunch of money to Mark Andrews after his drop pass.
Yeah, dude, I saw this morning. It was like $60,000 at one point, and like their goal was like 18,000. And it seems, I mean, it's funny because you beat them, but at the same time, it's for a good cause clearly. And the Bills Mafia, honestly, over the last couple of years, has been like the best when it came to like donations for things. Like if somebody starts something up,
they're from New York, they have a lot of money, dude.
Go into good causes.
Because they see good football, yeah.
Those good causes, like every year, I feel like they've done something at least once a year for donating just a fuck ton of money.
Jabril Peppers' trial delayed one day after water main breaks, facing multiple charges for assault and battery with dangerous weapons. What are you doing, Jabril? You were so good.
He's probably gonna be fined or whatever, and he'll be playing. What was he, a Patriot? He's a Patriot, so he'll.
Yeah. Well, dude, he was so good. He was kind of a. He's been good in the league, but he hasn't been as good as I thought he was going to be. He was like Honey Badger-esque in college.
Oh yeah, let's go look here.
Because he played at Michigan, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he was fucking really, really good. But he was really fucking good in college. I thought he was going to be like I really thought he was going to be like Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, he's been in the league for 8 years. He's played 99 games. He's got 7 total interceptions. He's
He's not paying out to what it could have been.
8 fumbles.
Yeah.
6 forced fumbles, 511 tackles, 5.5 sacks. And the time frame, I mean, you look at some of his first 3 years, he was played 13, started 13, played 16, started 16, played 11, started 11. Fourth year played 15, started 14. You know, he was 1 interception. Like those were some of his better years, and then he fell off in 2021.
Clearly.
And then bounced back last year a little bit. Had one of his best seasons statistically wise, and then this year he only played 6 games, so can't really.
No, he just did not. He hasn't been what he could have been in the league.
Hasn't been a Pro Bowl or anything either.
No. Another Lions hire, defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is now the new head coach of the New York Jets. It's a decent hire. I like it. I like Aaron Glenn. I remember Aaron Glenn playing, and now Rodgers is literally gonna get coached by a DB. Well, possibly coach. I guess we don't know what's gonna happen with Rodgers, but he might be getting coached by a DB that he would have played with in the league. So.
Yeah, I like the defensive guy. That defense, too much talent to be as bad as they were on the defense this year.
They were awful.
So I think with how the Lions have been defensively, I think he's going to bring that spark that they need for that. And then, we'll see what happens with
how they've been defensively with a way less talented roster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be interesting. So the Bucs offensive coordinator, I don't even know how to say it, Lamb Cohen, signs a new deal placing him among the highest paid offensive coordinators in the league. He was a candidate for the Jags head coaching job. Which did the Jags get a head coach? Who was their head coach? I can't remember.
They had Doug Peterson, but they fired him.
No, but who's their head coach? Did they not hire anyone anymore?
They haven't hired anybody yet.
Okay, so I guess he's not taking that then, but...
Probably a shit show. Probably walked into that interview if he was interviewed and was like, well, this is kind of a shit show, so I'm good.
So the Raiders finalized a deal to hire Bucs assistant GM John Spytek as their new GM, so good for the Raiders. Tom Brady making things happen, spinning his fingers and making it all go well.
Yep.
Just hire, and that's all I have for head coach hiring.
Okay. I just have a couple things here. Miami Dolphins are named the home team for the 2025 game in Madrid, Spain. So they're going to be playing overseas. Don't know who they're playing yet. Speaking of overseas, remember Jack Del Rio?
Yeah.
He is now the head coach for the Paris Musketeers in the European Football League. So he is going overseas now and is coaching in the European Football League.
I remember it was just yesterday when Jack Del Rio was ruining the Raiders organization.
Elf.
He's come so far.
He's going to go coach in Elf. European League
of
Football. Elf.
Elf.
And then Commanders offensive line, Sam Cosmi tore his ACL, so that can be impactful there for the Commanders, especially going against this Eagles defensive line this upcoming week. And then the last bit of news before his scores is we have koozies. So we will be handing out koozies.
Damn right we do.
It's got our YouTube QR code on the back, our logo on the front. Not selling them right now, so if you're fortunate enough, either hit one of us up if you want one. If we haven't gotten you one, we have a very limited amount right now, but if we need to go and get more, we'll get more. But yeah, we got koozies. We're doing progress, guys. Doing a little bit of something right, I guess. Yeah,
nice some quality, merch, dude.
Nice quality.
Nice
yeah. Moving on to the score world. College football playoff, January 20th. You didn't watch the game, which for the most part of the game, it was like, okay, I don't want to watch this, and then the
I didn't even know what was going on Monday.
Last quarter and a
To be
half,
honest.
it got interesting. Ohio State defeats Notre Dame 34-23. This game was it was 21-7 at halftime. Third quarter, just over midway through the third quarter, it was 31-7, and you're like, all right, Notre Dame's done for. All this, like, some people probably turned it off even before then. And then Notre Dame came back and scored 8 points by the end of the third. You know, at that point, they're down by what, 16 or something, like whatever. And then
Excuse me, sorry.
They made it a game. They were down a touch, 8 points, and then just couldn't get it going again. And Ohio State kicks that field goal to put them up enough that even if Notre Dame scored, they didn't have to worry. Ohio State, this team had that huge upset against Michigan, which is going to be the bookmark of their season. But they had some pretty dominant wins. I was looking at it. They beat number 1 Oregon by 20. They beat number 3 Texas by 14. They beat number 3 Penn State by 7. They beat number 5 Notre Dame by 11 in this game. They beat number 5 Indiana by 23, and they beat number 7 Tennessee by 25. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 6 top 10 teams that they beat. Some of those on their way to the college football playoff game, but all because they lost to Michigan. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Imagine having a resume like that, beating 6 top 10 teams. And one of them was the number 1, and like nobody's like whatever. Nobody gives a shit. It's crazy to me. College football was very weird this year with that. Usually it's very overly hyped, but all because they lost to Michigan, nobody cares.
That's right, dude. My Michigan, man. Big Michigan guy. What can I say?
Because you drafted
Tom
them
Brady.
in our pick'ems. Yeah, speaking of our pick'ems,
Brady.
I won the college football pick'ems that we were doing. I know we talked about it a couple times on the pod, but I won that. The one year that all of a sudden we don't pay.
Money,
Yeah,
zero
all
money.
of a sudden that pay money last year, but nobody pays money this year, I guess.
The suck guy.
Getting screwed over that. Then moving on to the NFL Divisional rounds. 8 teams went in, 4 teams came out. First game we had was the Chiefs 23, the Texans 14. There was some controversial
shit of a game.
Reffing going on that game. Two big controversial calls going in the Chiefs' favor. Like it seems like it's gone, and you know it's bad when the commentators are even like, "What's going on? What is this?"
It's like mainstream. It's mainstream now that like, oh, the NFL might be rigged. You know, the NFL. It's really funny. The NFL is the only major sports league that hasn't had a how do you say it? A controversy over rigging and stuff like that. People cheating in the NFL, like to a degree of like the refs and the organization and stuff like that. Except we see it every single Sunday, and you see it happen because it's true and it happened. I mean, I don't think the players are like, I don't think it's scripted. Like Patrick Mahomes, like, don't tackle me here, so this looks good. But I do think that the refs are biased towards it, and I think that look at those Vegas odds all the time. It seems like they always hit.
Yeah, the house always wins. Yeah, like the late hit or whatever when he slid, he slid late. Like the whole Trevor Lawrence one looked a lot worse because he did get popped in the head, but he slid late. You're at that point you've been scrambling around, and you decide to slide late. You barely got touched. Shouldn't have never been called. The roughing the passer one was such garbage.
That's so asinine.
You know, like
that was just terrible.
In key moments, and then people say, "Oh, they punted that, or they didn't even do this," or doesn't matter. You got to be consistent. You got to make the right calls. Was very shocked that they didn't call the one when he was going out of bounds, and even though he was touched before going out of bounds, and then was he basically flopped to try to sell the call. I think they need to implement. I don't know how much it would be actually called. Just like the hip drop tackle wasn't called a whole lot this year after the huge we're gonna make it a penalty and all this stuff. But like the NBA has a flopping rule that if they believe that you're flopping, you can get a penalty for it, and it negates you. I'd have to look at NBA how much it actually is called, or how often, or how much it even impacts anything. But the purposeful flopping by quarterbacks, especially, every quarterback does it, and it's annoying as shit. So annoying, especially when you're trying to go out of bounds or you trying to sell for the roughing the passer. I think that legitimately it might be something that if it gets to the extent that if you believe that they're seriously flopping to sell a call, it could be a penalty on them to force their hand and not be doing that stuff. It just ruins the game. You get a free 15 yards because you decided to flop over getting this on you when you're 240 pounds, 6'2", 240 pounds. You're not going down that easy.
No, it's true. They do it. I mean, to be fair, I do it too. It's a competitive advantage.
I think there's got to be some for a sport that favors the offense and so much. I feel like you got to add something to help out the defense a little bit. Again, it probably, even if they implement it, who knows how much it would even get called for like a flopping rule. Probably not a lot. Texans did not look good. It was CJ Stroud was sacked 8-9 times. Offensive line couldn't protect him. Can't protect the quarterback. Can't get the ball out. Can't make plays. The upset of the weekend, the Red Hot Commanders, 45. The Lions 31. Ooh-wee.
Embarrassing.
It's
embarrassing. I'll say this: as a Vikings fan, we came into the season with no expectations of anything. Our rookie quarterback, who we were all excited about and expected to play at some point this year, got hurt. That's fine. That's okay. That is what it is. Sam Darnold overachieved. We lost to the Rams. We were cooling down. We had a hard loss to the Lions, and then played the Rams, lost it. It was an embarrassing loss for us. But the expectations were low coming into the year. I thought we were going to be the worst team in the NFC North, to be completely frank.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about the Vikings. People gave Vikings criticized the Vikings for losing to the Rams. Rightfully so. Should not have lost to the Rams. The Rams weren't as good of a team. We just sold. Okay, the Lions were a Super Bowl contender and lost to the Commanders, which the Commanders, I respect everything that Dan Quinn's done for that organization, and picking Jaden Daniels was the best quarterback in that draft. Doesn't look close right now. Bo Nix looks good, but Jaden Daniels is at another level. Jaden Daniels playing like Jaden Daniels this year reminds me of Joe Burrow the year that he made it to the Super Bowl. I told you that earlier in the week, but he just does. He's just playing hot with a team that doesn't really have that much talent around it, to be completely frank.
Yeah. My only remark about the whole embarrassment thing is the Lions did lead the league in most players on injured reserve. A lot of your main defensive players and stars are not playing. I get that you're still like a favored team to win, but can't get a pass rush when your pass rush is gone. I mean, games are won in the trenches, and when your half of your trench is injured and out, you got backups.
You have the best offensive line in the game. You know what lost them that game is Jared Goff throwing the turnovers.
Jared Goff playing like shit did not help.
Hey, and they could have won. I mean, the pick six didn't help. You don't throw that pick six, it could be a different game. Like they shot themselves in the foot, and honestly, the Lions should have won that game.
Yeah, what Jared Goff throw? 3 picks, something like that.
3 picks, yeah. Three turnovers, 3 possessions. The Lions
just a glorified Sam Darnold at this point, just a glorified
glorified Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, who should be a starter, says some of the comments on what was that TikTok. Yeah, Sam Darnold should be a starter. Remember that. He's the best quarterback in the league. We should just not get someone else, or we should sign him to a $50 million deal. Says the haters, dude. But don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to the haters. But yeah, he played like shit. And Jaden Daniels is a legitimate pro.
Mm-hmm.
You watch him, he is, and I'm gonna call it Lamar too. We're gonna talk about Lamar. You talk about MVP 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row, whatever the fuck you want to say, 3-time MVP. 3-time hasn't done shit in the playoffs is what he is.
What is
more
he?
like more than
3-5 now in the playoff record or something. Yeah. Not a good playoff record.
No, he fucking sucks in the playoffs. And here's the thing, he's a better passer than Lamar, and he might be just as good of an athlete. Yeah. Like if you watch him, he sits in the pocket and he tears you apart. He's a legitimate quarterback, man. Well, I am excited.
I mean, dude, some of those pass plays that like throwing it deep to Terry McLaurin
on the money.
Yeah,
stride.
I also didn't realize how fast Terry McLaurin was until it was probably like a 10, 15 yard pass or something, and then Terry McLaurin hit the sideline and just took off. I've never seen Terry. I don't think I've ever watched a game where Terry McLaurin had the ability to just catch and just run. I feel like it's always down a line. I feel like it's always catch and run on a slant, getting catch and hit, or it's a deep ball where he's already ran and you didn't see him run. But I watched him run and down the sideline, and I'm like, I did not realize Terry McLaurin was that fast. Like, he just looked super fast, and I don't think I've ever seen Terry McLaurin move ever like that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was wild. It was crazy. But Jaden Daniels legit, man. He is going to be fun to watch. I think that his play is sustainable because he doesn't just have to rely on his legs. His arm talent is up there.
As an Eagles fan, I'm gonna hate to see what they sign in the offseason as wide receiver 2. You could go get it. You have the money. I know Tyreek Hill is old and expensive, but you have the money to go sign a Tyreek Hill and
a T. Higgins.
Yeah, like you have the money to go do any of that, and him and T-Mac with you got Brian Robinson Jr. at running back. That's going to be a legit fucking offense, even more legit next year.
Eckler looked good too.
Yeah, well, and because he's not taking the main 200 plus snaps and all that, he's able to come in. But yeah, this week's going to be interesting. I think we'll be fine. We should have beat them twice in the season, but they're also played at a way different level than what they were. Ever since the Eagles game, I feel like Jalen Hurts get hurt, we're up double-digit points, and then they come back. Ever since that game, they've just been hot. They're off. They've looked super good.
They have. You guys looked like shit last week.
I wouldn't say shit, but we also were playing in the fucking snowstorm while they were not. They were playing in a dome.
The Rams should have beat you guys.
Okay, but then we'll just talk about Patty Mahomes doesn't throw for over 200 yards. Josh Allen doesn't throw for over 200 yards, but they look fine. They don't look like shit. Shut the fuck up.
He didn't need to. He didn't need to.
AJ Brown dropped a touchdown pass. Jalen Hurts had 150-yard passing yards dropped by wide receivers.
Maybe AJ Brown should stop reading fucking books on the sideline and actually pay attention to the ball. Maybe he could do that.
Dude, it's a snow game. It's hard to. That snow was coming down. We won. Okay, we'll just go into Eagles 28, Rams 22. Saquon Barkley went off 205 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He beat the allegations of the whole. What I was telling you about the whole. You run for like 200 or 250 plus yards against a team in the season. You play them again in the playoffs. You don't run for shit against them. Beat the allegations. What was it, like a 78-yard touchdown run and like a 50 or 60-yard touchdown run? The dude is a fucking animal. Went off that game. But the one that stood out to me was Jalen Carter. That dude statistically probably had his best game of his career, and I don't get why teams aren't. We need to double team that guy. Like at one point, the stat was he wasn't doing anything when he was double teamed, but he had 2 sacks. He arguably had the sack that basically led to the 4th down for them to throw it away. He stepped up when he needed. He had a very good game destroying the middle. But yeah, Saquon Barkley went off. The Rams, our offensive line's a good offensive line. We were able to. Jalen Hurts took some sacks. We had some sacks. We had some run plays get blown up. But for the most part, we were able to handle that pass rush. It did help that their rookie Fisk got hurt in the first or second quarter, their D tackle. He was one of those. He's a good run stopper. I mean, I can't argue that. With him in the game, are we able to run as well with Barkley? Maybe not 205 yards rushing, but definitely was impactful with that. But we played in the snow. I mean, it was a complete snow game the second half. I mean, what the
yeah.
Things change there. You don't have the same grip. You don't have the same. Can't just go out there and pass like you'd want to, or throw the ball like you'd want to all the time. But we made the plays that we needed to. We scored when we needed to. As much as I love the Saquon Barkley touchdown run to put us up 28 to whatever it was, I really wish he would have slid just to we could kill more time, But because then we most likely don't get in the position where the Rams have the ball down 6. Also, we need to make some extra points because we missed too many of those. But we'll see. Against the Commanders, I think as long as the weather isn't snowing, I think it'll be a good game on both sides. But snow game, if it is a snow game, I'm gonna give the overall edge to the Eagles just because I think the team is made to play in the snow in terms of you have a good running back, your offensive and defensive lines can do that, while the Commanders are gonna have a little issues with the snow. And then the MVP game, if you want to call it that. Bills 27, Ravens 25. The Mark Andrews drops the 2-point conversion that would have tied the game with a minute and a half left or so. Again,
Is that the second time that's happened to Mark Andrews?
Yeah, I feel like Mark Andrews has had some bad clutch time. He's basically not clutch. He's had some bad clutch time drops. Another game where, it was cold, the weather, took a little factor in that, but the Bills contained Derrick Henry a lot better than they did before. The Ravens don't have Zay Flowers, so their pass game is definitely a little bit limited. But it was a good battle. That was a very good game to watch. But like we were talking about earlier,
didn't Lamar have two interceptions?
He had
before half or something.
I think he had a fumble and an interception. I don't think he had two. Maybe, yeah. His turnovers definitely were probably, or what realistically cost. That, and then the Mark Andrews.
Here's the thing, though.
Catch and fumble.
We got to be so happy that they didn't make it to the championship game. Because if they did, it would be Chiefs 100%. The only team that I think realistically could beat Patrick Mahomes and keep up with them is Josh Allen. I don't think that Lamar and that Ravens team has it in them.
Clearly not. You turned the ball over 3 times, and
on a soft Bills team, to say the least.
Yeah, not even. Yeah, their defense is not anywhere near what it had been over the last couple of years. And even their off. I mean, Josh Allen has that offense rolling for what they are. I mean, your number 1 wide receiver is Shakir. You got rookie Keon Coleman. You got, what is it? Curtis Samuel.
The corpse of Amari Cooper.
Yeah. That trade has not turned out what anybody thought it would be. Don't they have Curtis Samuel or some shit too? I think
they do.
Then you have Kincaid and Knox, who haven't really
done
anything that people thought either. So, yeah, Josh Allen, James Cook has been there. Ray Davis looked good. Even he was having some good rushes.
Ray Davis has been doing crazy stuff this year.
But Josh Allen's legs has really been the difference maker for him this year. He has done a lot of things there. The Ravens, 3 total turnovers. Lamar had 2. Mark Andrews had that 1. Just got to protect the ball. And then that crucial drop. I was watching a video. Somebody was like, we're blaming this pass more on Lamar than Mark Andrews for the drop because the ball wasn't thrown. The ball was thrown towards his knees compared to his chest or something. I'm like, if it touches your hands with nobody around you, even I'm going to make that fucking catch. It's something that you have to do. You're clearly getting the ball thrown to you for a reason. You're probably the most trusted receiver at the time. You're wide open. Nobody's around you. That's an easy gimme. Maybe it's rigged. Maybe it really is rigged. Maybe the script said, you know what, you're not going to catch this pass today. I don't know, but it was a good game. But yeah, Lamar was now 3-5 in the playoffs. Yeah, you got 9. Who the fuck made the comment? Somebody made the comment. He's like, yeah, now all 9 of their Pro Bowlers can go to the Pro Bowl. Like, just some. I think it was one of the Bills' defensive players. I thought that was fucking hilarious. Now they don't miss out on the Pro Bowl.
You get to go golf in Hawaii, dude.
yeah, that's true. All right, bad betting. We went 3-1 last week. The only one we didn't hit on was the Lions against the Commanders, which I even told you on the call on some of those. I was like, do we really take the spreads are pretty large. We barely got the Chiefs one, because if they didn't take the safety, we would have lost. But we hit the Chiefs one. But I told you both of those. I was like, those are some pretty big spreads. Should we dial back here? Could have potentially went 4-0, but I was like, I'm gonna go with Marcus's gut this week. But we went 3-1.
So when we go 3-1.
Yep. Yeah. We hit the. You wanted to take the Rams money line, but I was like, we'll compromise. We'll do the Rams to cover the spread, which it was 6.5, and it was they covered with 6, and then the Bills we took +1.5, and then they won. We're currently 5-5 in the playoffs, so we're even. This week it's just the 2 games, so Marcus has the Commanders winning. I guess we'll go down that later, but we had to compromise again. We're going to take the Commanders +6.5 versus the Eagles, and then this one we didn't have to compromise because we both have Bills. So instead of the spread, I took the money line just because it's better odds. It's like +108 or something. And this week, since it's only 2 games, we're gonna bump it up to a $25 bet. So if you bet $25 on the Commanders +6 and the Bills money line, payout would be $70 if you wanted to parlay those two together. So good luck. Hopefully we can at least go. If we can't go 7-5 in the playoffs, at least hopefully we can at least go 6-6. I'll take 500. Can't go under. That'll be bad.
It won't be good.
All right. Moving on to our undisclosed name of whatever the hell we want to call this, because we still don't have a name for it. BS with Skinny and Marcus, I guess. I don't fucking know. The boys something.
The 2 drunk guys happy hour with Skinny and Marcus.
Ooh, that's a good one. Happy hour. We'll call it happy hour. We don't even got to go the big. Just call it happy hour. I have 3 topics. How many topics do you have?
0. Zilch. Nada.
You don't have a single topic that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I do. I want to talk about the Lions that we already talked about.
Oh.
How the Lions. Yeah. I want to talk about how the Lions. I genuinely think that it's a bigger impediment on that franchise, a Super Bowl contender through and through, losing the way they did in that game. I think that's a big deal. I think that you come not ready just like the Vikings did, but you got to come in and win that game, especially against the easiest seed, and that was probably the easiest matchup the whole time. Because like the Eagles, let's be real, I'm gonna take the Commanders because I'm want the Eagles to lose, but the Eagles are probably gonna beat the Commanders. Like that's the worst team left in the playoffs, and it's not like it's what were they, the 7th seed?
No, they were 6.
Who's the 7th seed?
The Packers
Who's the
were.
7th seed? Really?
Well, because we were the number 2, so we'd play the lowest seed.
Okay.
So, well, the other thing to consider if you're a Lions fan is your time to win a Super Bowl is probably gone, depending on what you do with your coordinators. Now that you lost your offensive and defensive coordinator, unless you bring in 2 people that are gonna or bring up, I guess, within your team that are gonna replace them and be able to have just as much success as they are, you're kind of limited. The other one is Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying him the money. He's won you games, but clearly 3 turnovers in a game You know, in a big moment game, he's clearly went to a Super Bowl, couldn't get it done. You know, he's made the playoffs, couldn't get it done. He's clearly shown he can't get it done. So your next question is, do you start looking to move away from Jared Goff and free up some cap space there? And you still got Hendon Hooker there, or do you go and sign somebody? You know, like there's so many questions that you can do as a Lions team here, because Jared Goff is going to get you the first, second seed, maybe even next year, not even because of lose your coordinators. The Vikings, depending on what they do, could still be good. The Bears could be a lot better than what they are, and the Packers, I feel like as much as you want to say the Packers are going to be average or shit, they somehow pull it out every year because it's the Packers. You might not be that 1 or 2 next year. So there's a lot of questions going on there, but I think losing your 2 coordinators is very big, especially for the Super Bowl push. What do you do now? Who are you going to bring in that's going to be just as good, if not better, that's going to be able to help you get over that slump? Injuries, are you going to...
Because that might have been their legitimately their only shot at a Super Bowl with Dan Campbell. You just never know. It's so hard to get to him. I mean, you've seen it multiple times. You guys have been there, and you guys have been to what? Two Super Bowls in the last, decade. And you've seen them win one and lose one.
8 years. In the last 24 years, 20 years, we've been to 3 and lost 2. So,
and those 2 Super Bowls were with 2 different coaches. You know what I mean?
2 different coaches, 2 different coordinators, 2 different quarterbacks, 2 different running backs, 2 different. I mean, both squads. I mean, besides Lane Johnson, Jason Kelce.
All of a sudden Jeffrey's saying we're going to the Super Bowl next year.
Brandon Graham.
And saying I didn't say what team.
I think Brandon Graham, Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson are the 3 off the top of my head that I know were Super Bowl winners.
Yeah, still there.
Still there. Everybody else, I think, is
maybe Goddard.
No, Fletcher Cox too. Yeah, Goddard. Goddard, I think too. Maybe. I think Goddard would have been a rookie or second year at that point. He would have been super young. But then Fletcher Cox just retired, so Fletcher Cox would have been there too. A handful of players.
But you don't get to see a lot of them. I mean, it's kind of a rare thing, especially for a franchise that isn't like the Chiefs or the Patriots. Like in our lifetime, you're probably not going to hit that. So the time's ticking. Jared Goff isn't getting younger, and they spend a lot of money, so it's harder and harder to do it each year because you're going to get to a point where you're going to need to give Jahmyr Gibbs money. You're going to get a point where you need to decide on Jamison Williams and Aiden Hutchinson and all these star players, Brandon Branch is it Brandon?
Brian Branch.
Brian Branch.
Which I wanted the Eagles to take him so badly. That dude has been nothing but phenomenal.
He's so good. So you only have X amount of time before these things happen where you got to do it. So it'll be interesting.
So my 3 topics, what did we call this? I already forgot.
The happy hour.
The happy hour. The happy hour. Should coordinators be able to interview for job openings, like head coach positions, while their team is still in the playoffs?
No.
See, that's how I feel.
Because we got fucked. The Vikings got fucked over from that, I believe, in '98 because Bill O'Brien was their offensive coordinator. I think it was Bill O'Brien. Was Bill O'Brien the one that took the Ravens to the Super Bowl? Look who won the Super Bowl with the Ravens.
Which year?
2000 and 2000.
Brian Billick.
Brian Billick was a Vikings offensive coordinator, I believe, for the 1998 Minnesota Vikings. Once we lost in the championship game to the Falcons, I just think it gets people's heads off of it. They get complacent because you're not coaching for anything. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, I win a Super Bowl as a coordinator. Well, it's not as cool as winning a Super Bowl as a head coach.
Yeah, I mean the Eagles dealt with it with Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals, which that ended up like having like a whole like investigation happening, like with conversations and hiring all that. You could
Oh, I
argue
forgot about
you
that.
could argue the Lions just dealt with it. I mean, you had Ben Johnson in Glenn
Aaron
out
Glenn, yeah.
out here interviewing for jobs while they're in the playoffs. Uh, I think that if you're actively, this is where I feel like one hiring. I know you want to hire people as soon as possible to get the ball rolling, but what's the difference of
A week,
a
two
couple
weeks.
weeks, depending on if your team makes the Super Bowl too, I guess. But like, what's the difference of that? Maybe let's say month time frame. Um, while like if I'm an owner, I want to know that my or even a head coach, I want to know my coordinator is 100% invested. Imagine an interview that we go to for just a job that we're trying to get in general, right? You're trying to prepare. You try to prepare for that interview in some capacity, right? You're
Yeah,
preparing for questions. You're doing practice, whatever you're doing to get prepared for that interview. And these guys are going for head coaching positions, while your team in 2 days is going to be playing in a very important playoff game. You're focused on potentially getting this head coaching job. I think it's completely bullshit. They
yeah,
need to change something to where coordinators, if your team's in the playoffs, you cannot interview. So if a team like the Jets for sure want to go get Aaron Glenn, you got to wait till the Lions are done, like to even
yeah,
touch him in terms of contact or anything. Um, like luckily they're out now, so that's whatever. But like you should not be taking interviews or even thinking about interviews when your team's still in the playoffs.
I agree.
My next one's more of like a college football theme. I don't know how much you probably have an impact of this, but the big question is college football playoffs moved to 12 teams. The question is, did it work? Do we think that the 12 playoff team is good? Do we need to go back to maybe a 6 or 8? Should it be go back to the 4? Do we need to expand it even more, or did it show that 12 teams makes sense for the playoff?
Yes, I
Okay.
think you got a good variety of teams in there. They have some things like the big conferences get it, and then it's ranked. It was interesting to see like Boise State there and stuff like that, and all these places that would never made it before. I think it was good. I mean, obviously, I'm not a college football fanatic, but it doesn't seem like it went bad.
Yeah. Do you think, like, I guess as much as what you know from it, is there anything that you would want to see changed with the 12 lineup?
Ranking is a hard thing because there were some teams that missed out that they were like, well, these people made it in there, but these people didn't make it in
Yeah.
there. What was one of them that people were complaining about? Was it
Bama
Bama? Yeah, Bama making it in there,
not
or no, they
making
didn't
it,
make it in there.
not making it, while
Oh,
SMU did.
yeah, SMU. Like it's hard, but and strength of schedule is stupid in college football. Period. Like that's the dumbest thing ever because it's like you're 14-0. Yeah, you're playing in whatever, but like some of these teams, I don't know. It's
Like
hard.
Boise State lost one game all
Yeah,
year, lost
yeah,
to at the time number one Oregon, but then played
yeah,
Mountain West teams the rest of the year.
yeah. So it's like hard because I don't know. It's just
My my two things is they need to figure out how to redo like the numbers 1 to 12, because Boise State should have never had a bye. If they're gonna keep it like that, they need to fix it to where the number 5 team basically doesn't have the easiest path to the to. I know the number 5 team didn't win it, but number 5 team realistically had the easiest path. You play the number 12 and then the number 4 seed of the conference champions, which is the two worst conference champions. Like you get the easiest schedule there, while the 1 seed's playing the number 7. A top 10 team. So that needs to be fixed somehow. If they're going to keep it with the 12, somehow the number 1 should. the only way that I was thinking about how you fix that is you fix
the reshuffle.
The reshuffle. You do it how the NFL does it. The lowest seed plays the highest seed. You keep the 1 through 4 still, sure, whatever. They get the buys, and then after that, the lowest seed plays the highest seed. That's how I think it should have been, no matter what. Yeah. It's not. Yeah, I just like Ohio State was impressive because both teams weren't even if you go to the 6-team playoffs, both teams that made it, Notre Dame and Ohio State, were like 7 and 8, I think, or something, or 8 and 9. Like they weren't even. You go through 6 teams, they're not even in the college football playoffs at that point either. So you look at their past. Ohio State had to beat some good teams. Notre Dame had to beat some good teams. I just think that if you're the 1 seed, you should be getting almost the easiest path, I guess. Just like how the NFL does it, you get the easiest path because you get to play the lowest seeds.
Yeah.
And then this one, my last one. If Patty Mahomes wins the Super Bowl this year, does this certify him at number 2 all-time at quarterback as of that Super Bowl win?
I feel bad for Patrick Mahomes because he gets a lot of flack, and it's not really his fault that the Chiefs get, the NFL is in love with the Chiefs. They're looking for their poster boy, and he fits the criteria. It's different. Brady winning those Super Bowls is different than Patrick Mahomes, to be completely honest. The NFL's different. It's a lot softer. A lot more things happen. The reffing has just been such a big deal. Ever since the Vegas stuff happened, the reffing's gotten bad because I think it is rigged. In the sense of people are pushing teams to win. If he wins, he'll be 4-1 in Super Bowls? 4-1 in Super Bowls. So he'll have won. Yeah, Montana still has 4 and never lost. You kind of got to give it to Montana. And Montana was playing in an era where it was more violent, and there's a lot more. Your receivers didn't have stickum on their gloves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a different era of football. It was a lot harder. Defenses actually had a chance to play defense instead of playing, 2-hand touch, bullshit we play now, basically. I would say no. He doesn't go to top 2, but he goes to top 3. And he might already be at top 3, winning 3 and losing 1. But
yeah,
I think you still got to give it to Montana at number 2. But yeah, after that he'd be 2 solid.
Right now he'd be. Is he higher than Peyton Manning? You're kind of looking.
He is higher. He is higher than Manning.
Yeah,
granted, he's not. Here's what's hard about it though: is these last 2 years, Patrick Mahomes kind of sucked ass.
Statistically, Statistically, yes, the numbers have not looked good. But
he's
being a winner,
like Brady, but
yeah,
not like Brady. I don't know. It's really weird.
He's putting up Lamar Jackson stats, but looking like I guess I can't even say Lamar Jackson. Putting up. When you think of great quarterbacks, you think of great stats, but when you're putting up average quarterback stats, I guess, average quarterback games, it does make things.
He doesn't really have to either. It's so weird because he's just not forced to do those things. I don't know.
I would agree. He probably isn't too. I mean, you have the case that even though he is 4-1 and Montana was 4-0, but yeah, with the eras, definitely a huge thing. But yeah, I would say Mahomes is probably top 3 already. It's hard to deny that with the amount of success he's had in 7 straight AFC championships. This is the LeBron going to the Eastern Conference Finals. As much as he did. I get it. The AFC's and the other one too of that is the AFC is harder than what the Eastern Conference was in terms of NBA.
Oh, for sure.
The Eastern Conference is like the NFC. You have 2 or 3 really top good teams, and then everybody else is whatever. While the AFC, you have to battle in and out with some of the best players.
Yeah, it's like winning. It's like winning the NFC, or not the NFC.
You could
the AFC South.
Yeah, you could arguably say the top 5 quarterbacks in the league for sure are all in the AFC. I mean, you could probably push it out to 6, 7, 8, like depending on what you're looking at and what you want to grade it on.
Yeah, I mean the only best quarterback in the NFC would be what?
You'd have, I mean, Jaden Daniels clearly this year making a case.
Jaden Daniels might be the best quarterback. I mean,
Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts isn't top 5. You know, like, and even then, you might still take, like, I would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts in terms of quarterback play. And
yeah, but he's an AFC.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you were looking at ranking the quarterbacks, you'd go Mahomes, probably Allen at this point, Burrow, Lamar, and then you're looking at who's next. Who's your number 5? Probably an AFC quarterback. You have, I don't think, unless Jaden Daniels is slipping up there already his rookie year, which last year people did it with C.J. Stroud, and then look what happened.
Bo Nix might be up there, unfortunately.
Like, you have Justin Herbert. You have So you're looking at the best NFC quarterback potentially being number 5, 6, 7 in the NFL, right? You know, like the AFC is way harder.
Yeah, it is.
So with that, since I already made that list, my next question to that was, is Josh Allen now officially number 2 quarterback in the NFL behind Mahomes, or is it still Joe Burrow?
It's a hard one. So Joe Burrow, I think, has one of the most talented, accuracy-wise and power-wise and everything. I just think Joe Burrow just wows you. And think about this. We don't talk about it that much. We should talk about it more. His wrist is fucked up. Yeah. He's doing this with a fucking fucked up wrist. Joe Burrow is, if I had to pick one quarterback to run my franchise, I think Joe Burrow would be the guy. But that being said, because Josh Allen's fucking crazy. But Josh Allen is white Cam Newton on crack, man. Like, he's a specimen of a man. He's huge. He's fucking reckless. He doesn't give a shit about his body. He can throw, and he's good at throwing. Josh Allen is his legacy at this point. I know this is big steps to say because obviously Cam had a really good career and, you know, won the Super Bowl and whatever. Josh Allen's trajectory is going to be better than Cam.
So I guess
he wins an MVP and makes it to the Super Bowl, he's better than Cam.
Let me rephrase this. If he beats Mahomes this week, does he put himself at number 2, or do you think he's still behind Joe Burrow? Like, just as of currently, without this game, it sounds like you'd put him behind Burrow. But if he beats Mahomes and goes to the Super Bowl, would you put him in front of Burrow?
If he beats Mahomes and goes to the Super Bowl, I might put him over Mahomes. You know, that's such a hard thing because quarterback, it's such a weird, like,
yeah.
He's not beating Mahomes. Like, obviously, all time Mahomes is better, but right now, who's playing better football? Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like once you're basing quarterback play, what are you basing it off of? Their past resume or what they've done this year?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, what they're doing.
I just kind of wanted to see.
People are like, oh, he's top 5, but I would say yes.
I just asked that because I was, you know, people on X are gonna get crazy takes. Somebody's like, if Mahomes wins a Super Bowl 3-peats, he's the GOAT. I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't think so. Even if he wins 3 in a row, great, but I wouldn't solidify him as the GOAT, you know.
Who's the GOAT? Oh, Patrick.
Drew Brees, really? Of course. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So college bowl games. You missed a week. You finished 7-3, so congratulations, above 500 for a guy that doesn't really care about college football. I went 11-3. We both had Ohio State winning last week, so did there. So on the season for both college and bowl game, for college regular season and bowl games, we both went over 500. And then NFL, you're currently 6-4. and I'm 7-3. We both went 3-1 last week. The only mishap was the Lions. So right now we are currently on pace to, well, I guess besides you, unless you go 0-2 this week, and then miss the Super Bowl too. We're both currently on pace to go over 500 in both the regular season and playoffs. So we're doing it. We're making solid picks. We're making solid. Even though my takes have been kind of bad, I guess, and I'm looking like a cheeseburger, double cheeseburger, and I have zero ball knowledge and all this other shit, I guess.
You don't know the balls and you don't know how to spell.
I guess not.
Like that guy.
But Marcus, what of our? I guess we've kind of already talked about. Everybody knows what matchups are. Marcus, what are our 2 matchups? And let's do our pick'ems.
Well, let me look at the schedule, so that way I can tell you the right ones. So Sunday, January 26th. This Sunday. This is 2 p.m., but I wonder if it's 1 p.m. It's kind of weird times. I don't know if this is Eastern Standard Time, but we'll just say whatever. Whatevs. The Washington Commanders take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And give me the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is hot right now.
It's 2 p.m.
It is 2 p.m. Yeah. It actually is.
Yep. I'm going to take the Eagles, of course, but you can take the Commanders, and that's where we're both going to be wrong. One of us is going to be wrong.
Hey, Jaden Daniels, 2 rushing touchdowns.
I respect it. I chose the Rams over the Vikings. I get it. I understand. I respect it.
It's a terrible thing to do to you. You were right, too. The Buffalo Bills take on the Chiefs. And give me Buffalo. We're taking Buffalo. I'm pretty sure I've taken them every single week this year. We're going to take them. I said in my predictions that Buffalo would win that division. And you know what? They did. They're doing it, and they're going to the Super Bowl. Bills Mafia.
Yeah, dude. The Buffalo Bills, the Commanders and the Bills have both exceeded expectations for what they probably were, not probably, but they were expected this year. And now they're 1 game away from the Super Bowl. I'm taking the Bills, of course. Can never go wrong with Buffalo. But yeah, hit us up for koozies. Enjoy the conference championships this Saturday. There's nothing on Sunday. There's nothing on Saturday, dude. It's so weird not having Thursday night football now and Saturday. Like I'm like sitting in, it's like I think I said this last year too. It's like the one meme where it's like he's like sitting on the swing set or standing by a swing set just waiting because he's so bored and doesn't know what to do. Follow us on X, Insta, Twitter, or I guess that's X, Facebook, Instagram. Hit us up for the koozies. We'll have a guest next week, I think. Sounds like.
We're never going to have a guest again.
No.
Cheers.